Hello everyone, welcome back, Mate Talk. This is number 3. What is mate? Mate is an Argentinian drink that is drunk socially between friends, etc. Argentinian, actually I found out that it's actually a South American drink, so I apologize to the rest of South America. The Argentinians thought we had the monopoly on mate, but we don't. In Australia we use the word mate, and mate essentially means friends, so we're mates are talking. I want to actually, actually it's been pretty exciting doing the last 2 episodes of Mate Talk. I've had people reach out to me from different parts of the world, one of them being Jamaica, go figure. So a good man from Jamaica did a shout out saying that he was enjoying some, I think it was Blue Mountain Jamaican coffee. I'm like, my friend, welcome, it's awesome. So get your local drink, whatever that might be, and join me on this Mate Talk. Now, what's Mate Talk about? Well, it's really dictated by you guys. You tell me what you would like to have a conversation on, and I will deal with it on a weekly basis. So I'll give you a little bit of background who I am. Niche fragrance collector. I'm a big collector. I collect many different things, and I'm going to show you some stuff in a minute. But before I actually buy, in particular with perfumes, because with niche perfumery, I mean, some bottles start at $300 to $400. I don't have a lazy $300 to $400, so I don't blind buy. So I do it's quite a rigid sort of system in which if I'm going to buy something new, I do like to test for a week, et cetera, before I go ahead and buy. So what Mate Talk is, I've had a lot of people ask me, what do you think of fragrance such and such? And so this is really an opportunity for me to talk about those fragrances and give you my feedback straight away. And so that way you don't have to wait until I test it, I'll buy it eventually, and then finally do a video a year from now, sort of thing. So this is a week by week thing. Now, I had a young lady by the name of Yelena who reached out and wanted to know what my thoughts were on a fragrance called Rubicona by Prue Distance. I think that's how you pronounce it. So the house is Prue Distance, the fragrance is Rubicona. Now, I went into, there's an awesome store here in Melbourne called LKNU, and they have a fairly extensive collection, and they were kind enough to allow me to test. And actually I was writing notes, so Yelena, just to validate, and also here's the video, to validate that I was there and I was actually testing this particular fragrance out. Now, I want to say from the onset, Yelena, this was not one that really grabbed me. Having said that, so I just want to sort of disclaimer, if you have this in your collection, that's awesome. If you love it, that's all that matters. I have some fragrances in my collection that other members of my family or others don't like, but I love wearing them, and it is what it is. If you already have it and you wanted to get my opinion from a male point of view across, I'm about to share. If it's one that you were looking to buy, it actually reminded me of something else, and I'm also going to share that, and I would love to put that other fragrance, if you haven't bought Rubicona, I'd love you to test this other one, so see what you think. Anyway, so when I tested this particular one here, on opening, so what I did is I just allowed myself to experience the fragrance, don't look at notes. Even though my brain's wanting to grab different notes, I just let the fragrance evolve and do its thing, and what's it making me think, et cetera, et cetera. So on opening, love the opening. I'm a big fan for a nice citrus. This was a candied citrus, very sweet, but not sickly. It was actually very appealing. On a woman, I think it would be beautiful. On a man, I think it played well. There's no problems at all that I could enjoy this particular fragrance. It then went to like a floral, but as it started to sort of from that migration from opening into that heart, I was getting a particular note, and I'm like, what is that? And it was, I wasn't enjoying it as much. And later I discovered there's a clove note, and I get a little bit stuck with clove. So when clove's in the fragrance, I do find it a little bit jarring. I find it sort of a little bit unsettling. I know Viking, for instance, has that clove note in the opening, and it's sort of a little bit unsettling until it sort of dries down and moves on. I found that as the fragrance then migrated on again, it was reminding me of something else. And as I'm waving this around, because it actually has the fragrance on there, it does remind me of this other particular fragrance, and I want to have a look at this. This is Coromandel by Chanel. It's in their Fancy Pants collection. And I would like to, so as I was smelling this, and I was in the store, and I'm like, it's tweaking my mind. It's making me think of something else. And I think it has a slight patchouli in this particular fragrance here in Rubicona. And it made me think a little bit, and the way that it's sort of constructed made me think of Coromandel. So I went where I was, the department store that I was, I had the opportunity to go also spray Coromandel, and I was actually testing Coromandel on one arm and Rubicana on the other arm at the same time. As the day progressed, I found that the Rubicana fragrance went from florals into sort of like a musk, but it was the musk was a bit more pronounced, the florals were getting a bit softer, and eventually it sort of went away. Whereas I found that Coromandel, it hung around a lot longer. I also found that there were elements in Coromandel that were very similar, as I said, to Rubicana. So I'm going to put forward to you, Yelena, if you haven't bought Rubicana, test out Coromandel. There are some notes that are very similar. It doesn't have a clove note, so it won't surprise you. Give me a second. But I found that the Coromandel, well, it's in my collection, so for starters, and I do enjoy that fragrance quite a bit. In the end, because I have it in my collection, I felt that Coromandel was my pick out of the two. So so again, I apologize if you have it in your collection. I did think about, what would this be like on a woman, a Rubicana, what would that be like on a woman? And it would be okay. I know Cecile Zoe-Can, I think that's how you pronounce her name, is the perfumer. She's an awesome perfumer. If I'm not mistaken, she also did either Material or Boundless. I think she did Material for Amouage. Awesome fragrance. So just a sensational perfumer. Just for me, all right? So for me on that test, I wasn't overwhelmed. It was nice. It wasn't terrible. But anyway, that's my view. The next person that asked me to have a look at a fragrance is Jerry Simpson. Jerry mentioned Siberian Rose. Proof that I went to Oligarch, have an awesome Fragrance du Bois range. And of course, Oligarch, my main man, Kevin. Actually, if you haven't seen the video that Kevin and I did on opening up my beehive, now just so you know, none of that was staged. All that had the cameras rolling and it just happened as it happened. So what you're seeing, bro, sort of materialized before you was just happening in real time. Kevin got smashed with the bees were keen on him. So anyway, have a look at that if you haven't seen that yet. So anyway, I went to Oligarch and tested Siberian Rose. I believe it's a new edition in the range. I do know, well, Kevin mentioned that this is their Fragrance du Bois rose scent for the range. The one thing I just want to point out is that this is not a rose fragrance. In my opinion, I wasn't picking up, I know that there is meant to be a rose in there. I definitely wasn't picking up that rose scent. So Jerry, if you're looking to include a new rose fragrance in your collection, I wouldn't recommend this one. I think there's some other really beautiful rose fragrances out there. Having said that though, as a fragrance, so if you're like, no, I just want to know what it was like, awesome fragrance. Siberian Rose, definitely one that I would buy. I also found, actually I didn't write as many notes on this one, Jerry, I apologize. But I just know that as I wore it, the opening was great, I loved it. It does have a tuberose heart to it. I know that tuberose can be very feminine. I didn't find that it was feminine, I didn't find it very feminine on me. I actually enjoyed wearing that. There are some patchouli and woods in there, and I think it's those particular components that are making the fragrance a little bit more masculine leaning. Having said that, a woman can also wear this one. In my opinion, a woman can definitely wear this one. It's interesting to note that the patchouli note was something that my wife was picking up. She's not a patchouli fan. And so this one here, even though I was enjoying it, my wife not as much. And interestingly, she is a tuberose lover, and she was not picking up the tuberose as much as I was. For me, I'm like, how can you not be smelling tuberose? And she was saying, how can you not smell that patchouli popping? So interesting how different noses can perceive a fragrance differently. But if I were to explore that further, I would say yes, Siberian Rose is a winner. Now, I had also another subscriber ask me regarding Aaron, I'm gonna mess this up, Aaron Terrence Hughes. He's I believe English perfumer. He's also a reviewer. He has an awesome channel. But the man is a genuine perfumer. He has I've been told he has a wonderful, awesome collection of fragrances. And this good man, look how uncomfortable he looks in this hug. So this good man is a friend of mine. His name is Max. He's also a big perfume lover. He happened to be in the Oligarch store. He's always in the Oligarch store, just a heads up on that. And the reason why I hugged him like this is because, well, he's a good friend. And I was just I was messing with him, and my wife took a photo of us embracing. So now Max is going to be kind enough. He's actually ordered the samples from Aaron's fragrances. Once he's finished with them, he's going to hand them over to me. So I will be able to talk to you about what my impressions are on these fragrances. I'll also be interested to see what Max has to say about those fragrances. But I've been told that they're spectacular and awesome. All right, that's it. My mission has been completed. If you've got any questions for me for the coming week, please put them in the comments. My job here is I'm being governed by you, so please tell me of anything you'd like me to go out and explore, and I promise I will go and do that. Now, one thing that I was asked about are my pictures in the background, so the posters that I like to put up. Did anyone, I don't know if you saw the Boccanetta review, my wife was like, what is that picture in the background of these two lips, you know, about to kiss? It's a movie called 9.5 Weeks. The two central characters in that was Mickey Rourke and Kim Basinger. And that was when Mickey Rourke was handsome. This is when every man wanted to be Mickey and every woman wanted to do Mickey. He went into boxing and he got his face mashed up. He doesn't look like that anymore. But if you check out 9.5 Weeks, it's, yeah, okay. It's a risky movie. So I've been collecting since I was a kid. So those movie posters are actually original day bills. They're not something I bought from Walmart or anything like that. I've been collecting since I was a kid. This one here is, I think I was like 13, 14 when I bought this. And so this is George Lucas when he did so actually what happened is he released this movie, and this too is an original day bill. So that's The Empire Strikes Back. I've always loved this poster. And I've also got here, but I won't show you because you get it. I've also got The Return of the Jedi. So I've got all three of the original day bills on the Star Wars, which is pretty cool. So yeah, I've always been collecting. My mate holder is also a collector's item. This one here was my father, he was visiting Salta in the north of Argentina. And this is handmade pottery, hand painted. And I think from memory, he mentioned to me that it was like a cellar that was on the side of the road. I love that sort of stuff. So a lot of the pictures that I have, people have asked me, those paintings, where did I buy it from? I actually buy the art in the location that I'm in. That's also something I love doing and love collecting. So anything, if there's any local artists doing any drawings or whatever, I like buying that sort of stuff. And yeah, it just reminds me of where I've been basically, which is pretty cool. Thanks everyone. That is me done. Mate Talk completed, and I'll see you guys on the next episode. I meant to do the slurp. Hold on, give me a sec.